Well, good evening, everyone. I am going to call this meeting to order. This is the October 12th, 2022 hearing of the City of Pasco Hearing Examiner. My name is Andy Kottkamp, and I've been appointed by the City of Pasco to serve as the Land Use Hearing Examiner. My job is to render decisions on various applications and recommendations on various applications that are authorized to come before me, which include special permits and preliminary plat approvals. I make final decisions on those, and I make recommendations to the City Council on planned unit developments. Those are what we have on the agenda for today. I consider any testimony presented at today's hearing, as well as all the written materials that we already have on file, in order to make my decisions. The hearing process does have certain rules, but I still try to conduct the meetings in a relaxed and informal way, but I want to let you know how the hearing is going to proceed now. We'll take each item separately, and for each item, staff will present their report and make whatever recommendations that they wish to make. Then the applicant or the applicant's representative is given an opportunity to present their testimony. The applicant does have the burden of proof to show compliance with all the applicable rules and regulations. Then if a member of the public wishes to offer any testimony on the matter that we're talking about, they'll be given that chance to do so. And if there is any testimony in opposition to the project, I will give the applicant an opportunity to submit whatever rebuttal testimony they wish to submit. Because the applicant has the burden of proof, the applicant does get the last opportunity to submit rebuttal evidence. If you are going to testify, I'm going to have you coming up to the podium there at the hearing room and state your name and address. If you're going to give evidence, I will swear you in as a witness. I'd ask that you keep your testimony relevant to the application that we're talking about and not to other issues beyond the scope of the proposal. And if you have anything in writing that you want to submit today, you can do so. Now, I have the option following this hearing to keep the record open if I think there's a need for additional written testimony to be submitted. But in any event, my written decision will be made within 10 working days after I close the public record. Except as provided by the Pasco Municipal Code regarding request for reconsideration, my decision is final and conclusive unless it is appealed. Appeals are by means of a land use petition action. They have to be filed with Franklin County Superior Court within 21 days of the date of the issuance of my decision. And if the appeal isn't timely filed, the appeal would be barred. The bottom line is that if you're considering an appeal of any of my decisions, you really should seek immediate legal advice. I've reviewed all the items on today's agenda. I don't have any interest in any of the properties or the proposals to be heard today. I will be able to fairly and objectively consider each item. And outside of receiving and reviewing the staff report for each item and all the attachments to the staff report, which basically are the application materials. For the first item on today's agenda, there's been substantial public comments that have been submitted. There's agency comments, there's site plan drawings, photographs. Other than receiving and reviewing essentially the entire planning staff file for each item, I've not had any communication regarding any of the items that are on today's agenda. So if there is anybody with those representations, if there's anybody that objects to me serving as a hearing examiner for any item, you need to come forward and state so at this time. All right, not seeing any movement. We're going to turn to the first item on today's agenda, which I understand is going to be a request for continuance. This is preliminary plat and 2021-002 with the planned unit development with the same number, 2021-002. Reviewing of the staff report, I did see a indication that the county or the city would be requesting a continuance. So I'll turn this over to Mr. Adams for your request.
Mr. Examiner, we'd like to know if you're planning on delaying testimony as well.
Oh, yes. I reviewed some emails from staff indicating to various individuals that the city was going to be requesting a continuance. So I was not going to, quite frankly, admit anything into the record at this time. I was not going to go through any evidence, and my plan was just to set the entire matter over for both applications until the November 9th hearing, if that's what the request is for the city.
All right, with that permission, we would like to request that the presentation be delayed till November as well.
All right, and is the applicant either present or I don't see them online, but Mr. Adams, do you see the applicant present?
Yes, they are.
All right, would the applicant's representative come on up to the microphone? I do have a question. I want to see if you have any objection to this request by the city.
I'm Christy Badiola with Harms Engineering, the engineer for the project.
Okay, I'm not going to swear you in or anything. Does the applicant have any objection to this request for a continuance?
We actually just found out about the request for continuance today, so we haven't really even had a chance to talk to the city about it. So at this point, I guess we don't really have a major objection. I would just like to say it's been taking a long time to get to this point. And so, yeah, we originally submitted back in on September 30th of last year. So it's been a very long process.
It's a very big process. It's a very big project, and I'm not surprised that the process and the studies take some time. So.
But at this point, I think it's fine to continue it. I think there's a lot of discussion that we need to have, so.
All right. With that then, and I do see members of the public there today that may or may not have gotten notice that this matter might be continued. I am going to continue this to the hearing examiner's agenda for November 9th, 2022. That'll be at 6 p.m. I'm continuing this on the record. So there will not be any at the regularly scheduled open record public hearing. So there's not going to be any other notice required, public notice required of this continued hearing. I'm sure it'll be online on the Pasco website, but there's posting of the notice of hearing and publishing of the notice are not required. The city could do that if they'd like to, but not going to be required. So I am going to continue this matter until November 9, 2022. And with the level of public interest in this project, hopefully it can be the only item on the agenda so that we can devote the appropriate amount of time for this hearing and not feel pressed because there's other things on the agenda, but we'll see how that all works out. All right, any questions, Mr. Adams, on this matter?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's turn to the second item on today's agenda. And for those of you that were there, again, I do apologize if you didn't know that this hearing was going to be continued. The record is obviously still open. If you can't attend on November 9th, you can certainly submit written comments. The next item on today's agenda is a special permit application. It is given application number SP 2022-012. And this is an application that has been submitted. Let me pull this up here. For the upper floor dwelling unit in a commercial 1 zoning district related to property located within City of Pasco that is more specifically described in the staff report as well as in the application materials. And for the record, I will admit into the record that staff report and all the attachments to the staff report, which included all the application materials, there's noticing documents, there's comments that have come through, there's site photographs, site plan drawings. I'm going to admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference. And I believe once again, turn this matter over to Mr. Adams for the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. For the interest of our viewing audience, this is special permit number SP 2022-012, Keys Coster with the Broadmoor Commercial Center, LLC. This is a parcel located along Road 92, approximately 300 feet north of the Road 92 Sanford Parkway intersection, and it is zone C1. The site contains approximately 1.15 acres. Applicant has submitted a special permit application to build a mixed-use suite with an office suite on the main floor and a dwelling unit on the upper floor on 2 parcels. And for the record, that has been changed recently to 1 parcel. Those 2 parcels have been combined. That's parcels 115-442-014, 115-442-013 were combined into parcel 115-442-015 on or around October 6th of this year. And so that can be changed in the report and also in the staff recommendation. Public notice of this hearing was sent to property owners within 300 feet of the property and to the Tri-City Herald on September 26th of 2022. Townhouse development is being pursued to the northeast of this site. You can see that the zoning has been increased to R3 there fairly recently. Applicant owns and intends on managing the property. Applicant plans on using the office space and garage at the bottom level and an apartment on the upper floor, and is proposing to use this as a security feature for the business complex. There are 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit required in residential zoning districts, and the proposal shows a 2-car garage as part of the proposal. And those are the highlights of this report.
All right. Would you be able to send me those that parcel information that you indicated was developed after the issuance of the staff report?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I don't have any questions about this project. I have read the comments and understand the purpose of this request. Is the applicant ready to proceed?
Yes.
So come on up to that microphone there, sir, and I'll have you state your name and address, and then I'll swear you in as a witness.
Okay, Case Coster, 4606 West River Boulevard, Pasco, Washington.
Boy, that sound didn't really come through all that well. What was your name again?
Case Coster.
Oh, okay. I see it in the staff report. Keeskoster?
Correct.
All right, perfect. All right, I'll have you raise your right hand for me, Mr. Coster. And do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give tonight will be the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. I have a couple of questions that I always ask people at the beginning as we go through this, so I don't forget. Are you here as an agent authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the property owner and applicant tonight?
Well, I guess I am the owner. So I suppose the answer is yes.
Okay, well, I saw that it was an LLC, so I just want to make sure that everybody was
Yes.
authorized.
Yes, that is.
Okay.
I represent the LLC.
And have you had a chance to look at the staff report that was prepared in this matter?
I have not.
So did you listen to the report given by Mr. Adams?
I did.
Do you have any disagreement with any of the representations set forth by Mr. Adams?
No, I do not.
And there are some proposed conditions of approval. Have you had a chance to see those?
I have not.
There are 3 proposed conditions of approval. The first one is that the permit applies just to the parcel that we're talking about, that the structure will be constructed in substantial conformance to the submitted site plan, and the special permit is null and void if the proposed improvements are not made within 2 years of the date of approval, if that is indeed approved. So those are the recommended conditions of approval. Do you have any objection with any of those?
No, I do not.
All right. So now we'll move on. So now what would you like to tell me about the project, sir?
Well, I mean, in light of the written material I submitted, I don't want to waste anybody's time, but it is basically a mixed-use suite in a kind of flex-based commercial project, and the purpose of the dwelling unit on the second floor is for convenience, for maintenance for the project, as well as being on-site lease agent and for a security feature for the project.
So this is not going to be used as a short-term rental or any type of use of that nature. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is not what is considered, I guess, for a caretaker's residence. It would be a permanent dwelling.
Correct. Okay. All right, Mr. Coster, do you have anything else you'd like to add about the project? I did read all your materials, and so I don't have any additional questions for you, but I certainly don't want to cut you off if there's something that you'd like to say.
Okay. No, that is all. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in tonight. We'll turn this matter now over to the public. As promised, did any member of the public come to testify about this matter?
Seeing none, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything further from staff?
No, sir.
All right, then. Mr. Coster, what I'm going to do is I'll take this under advisement. I'll have my written decision made within the next 10 working days.
All right, thank you.
We'll turn to the third item on today's agenda. And I need to get to the right part of the application. And this is a special permit given application number SP 2022-014. This is a request from the MR&H Tri-Cities Church in the Central Business District for the construction of for the operation of a church. This relates to property located within the city of Pasco that is more specifically described in the staff report as well as in the application materials. And for the record, I will admit into the record that staff report, all those attachments to the staff report, which included all of the application materials and all the noticing documents. There's site plan drawings, there's photographs. I'll admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference. And again, turn this matter over to Mr.
Mr. Examiner, this is Rick White and Ms. Kelsey Bean, a newly hired planner, one with the city of Pasco, will be giving the presentation this evening.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. All right.
Planner
So,
two, sir.
What is your name again, ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. It's Kelsey Bean,
And how do you spell your last name?
like jelly bean, B-E-A-N.
All right. It's nice to meet you, and I'll turn this over now to staff for your presentation.
Thank you. So as stated, this is special permit number 2002-014. The applicant is Alex Maluma, and I apologize if I say that last name wrong. The address is 411 West Clark Street in Pasco, and it is a C2 Central Business District zone. The parcel is 1.9 acres, and the applicant wishes to operate a church of worship, Bible study, and prayer at the address, and the applicant is going to be using the back unit. It is a 7,140 square foot building, but we do not know the exact square footage of the back unit that will be used. No modifications to the outside will be made. The churches are considered unclassified, which is why it required a special permit. The MR&H Tri-Cities is described as a place of worship. It will be directly serving various members of the community. There are parking requirements specific to churches laid out in our PMC, and they state as one space for each 4 seats based upon maximum seating capacity, or at least one space for every 10 lineal feet of bench seating. There is no designated on-site parking for the specific property, and we were not made aware of the exact size of the congregation, so how many parking spaces will be needed. But that will also be determined by the max capacity of the unit. And I believe that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So those parking regulations are not necessarily based upon what the applicant tells you how many people are going to be there, but how many people could potentially be there. Is that fair to say?
Yes. How many people could be allowed in the building because of max capacity?
Okay, thank you very much. So is the applicant ready to proceed?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
All right, and your name for the record, please.
My name is Alex Moluma.
And an address for you, sir?
The address is 1168 South Keller Place, and that is in Kennewick, Washington, 99338.
All right, sir, thanks for coming in tonight. I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me, please. And sir, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury of the laws of the state of Washington that any testimony you give tonight will be the truth?
Yes, please, I do.
All right, and I just ask you the same questions that I asked Mr. Coster. First of all, are you here as an agent authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the property owner and applicant tonight? Is that correct?
Yes, please, I'm the applicant.
All right, and have you had a chance to review the staff report?
Yes, I went through it.
Do you have any objection to any of those representations?
I have no objections.
And did you have a chance to look at the proposed conditions of approval?
Yes, please.
And do you have any objection to any of the proposed conditions of approval?
No, I don't.
All right. Then, sir, what else would you like to tell me about this project?
The main thing is that I think it's a good project for the community because if you look at the challenges in the community, you see there's a lot of crime, increased homelessness, and there's a lot of things that are going on. And I think having a church is a positive thing because I think there is actually a study that that actually will likely and most likely will decrease the crime rate and also help the businesses around there to grow because that is part of the things that we do. We also pray for the business, we pray for the community, for the well-being of the community. So I think that's the only thing I wanted to say, that it's a positive thing coming to the community, and I just wanted to relay that.
So the one thing I think that I need to talk to you about is off-street parking. There is a requirement for churches to have off-street parking. It doesn't necessarily have to be on your site, but you have to have a written agreement if you're going to use somebody else's parking as your own. So what's your proposal for the off-street parking?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. This property actually we are sharing with some other folks. Like we have the furniture store on the front side, and then we also have that's the Lama's furniture store, and then I think on the north side we have some parkings which the AA normally uses, the AA group, and then on the length side, I'll call it on the right hand lengthwise side. I don't know what direction that is. Let me see the drawings here. Yeah, so looking northeast from the alley, there's a lot of parking places available, and also.
I'm sorry, sir, but it's on land that's not owned by you or the church, or is this land that's owned by the church?
So we share, as I said, we share with other business owners the place, and there is actually on the southwest from the alley. There's a lot of parking spaces which the businesses use, and I think we also the hours of operation of the church and the businesses around. They're actually opposite. We normally do services on Sundays, and none of the businesses is open on Sundays, and also. Like on the weekdays, like Wednesdays and Fridays, our church service starts at 7 p.m. And at that time, all the businesses around, they are actually not in operation. So we'll have ample of parkings, I guess, for that matter.
All right, well, the one thing you're gonna need to show that you have written permission to use somebody else's property as parking. And I don't know that the alleyway is that's a public roadway, so I don't know if that's gonna satisfy off-street parking. So it's a serious concern, and I don't want you to get lost in the process here. So you'll need, if you're gonna use somebody else's property for parking, you need to get their written permission, demonstrating how many parking spots you can use and when you can use them. Is that understood?
Yes, please.
Okay, anything else you'd like to tell me about this project?
That's all. That's all I have.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for coming in. I appreciated the opportunity to talk with you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. So we'll turn this over to the public. Did any member of the public come to talk about this matter tonight?
No one here.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bean. Ms. Bean, is there anything further from staff?
We have nothing further, thank you.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you very much. What I'm going to do then is I am going to close the public record portion of this hearing, and I will have a written decision made within the next 10 working days. We'll turn to the last item on today's agenda. This is also a special permit application. Given application number SP 2022-015, this is an application for a special permit to allow the use of the property as a truck driving school. This relates to property located within City of Pasco that is more specifically described in the staff report as well as in the application materials. And now for the record, I will admit into the record at this time by this reference. That staff report, all those application materials that have been submitted, there's site plan drawings, there's photographs of the site. I'm going to admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference. And I don't want to jump to any conclusions, so I'll just turn this matter over to staff for their presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. This is Mr. Adams again.
All right.
For the benefit of our viewing audience, this is special permit SP 2022-015, Juan Rojas with Extreme Diesel, representing the H&R Elite Trucking Academy in a C1 or in an I1 zoning district. This is a parcel that's located at 2020 Garland Street. It is zoned I1, which is light industrial. The site contains approximately 7.33 acres. Applicant has submitted a special permit application to locate a trucking school at this address. And for the benefit of our audience again, public notice of this hearing was sent to property owners within 300 feet of the property and the Tri-City Herald on September 20th, 2022. The proposed truck driving school would be located on the west portion of the 7.33 acre site. This site has easy access to Interstate I-182, State Highways SR 395 and SR 12. Several trucking related uses are located nearby. The trucking school would be utilizing the west building and the west lot for student truck driver training. And you can see the gray outlines on there. There's a small building to the west that would be used for that. According to PMC 25.200.020 subsection 4, unclassified uses are required to go through the special permit review process. Also, PMC 25.185.170 subsection 3 requires 1 parking space for each 300 square feet of floor area for technical school facilities. The total parking requirement would be 17 spaces, rounded up for a 5,000 square foot facility. There are 11 on-site parking spaces associated with the structure on the west side of the lot. However, the lot contains sufficient room for more parking spaces as required. And those are the highlights of the report.
All right, thank you very much. Is the applicant ready to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, and can I have your name, please?
My name is Juan Rojas.
And an address for you, sir?
It's 153110 West Johnson Road in Prosser.
All right, Mr. Ross, I'm gonna have you raise your right hand for me, please. And do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give today will be the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. So the advantage of being last on the agenda is you get to hear all my questions that I've already asked everybody else. So I'm going to ask the same of you. Are you here as an agent authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the property owner and applicant tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had a chance to look at the staff report that's been prepared on this matter?
I did, yes.
Okay. Do you have agree with all the representations? Do you agree with the staff report and everything that was said in it?
Yes, the only thing I noticed on the is that instead of 5,000 square feet of the building, it's 1,800 square feet, not 5,000. I don't.
Oh, okay.
So in this case, I think I do have enough market spaces for the truck and school.
So the building on site is just 1,800 square feet, correct?
That is correct, yes. The other one that they were talking about, the 5,000 square feet, is the shop repair for the other trucking company.
Okay. Okay. Did you have a chance to also look at the proposed conditions of approval?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any objection with any of those?
No.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, what else would you like to tell me about your project, your trucking academy?
Yeah, well, I've been, well, I have my trucking school for the last 10 years in Prosser, and all my students are from Tri-Cities, like 90% of all of them. So I got that trucking school open still in Prosser, and then Martinez Technical Institute closed that trucking school. So I talked to them since I had a trucking school for like the last 5 years. So I just moved in and talked to them, and that's why I'm here. There used to be 5 trucking schools in Tri-Cities area with the one in Walla Walla. They all closed down but one, the T Enterprises. So that's why I'm here at the Tri-City area to train more drivers and keep Pasco moving.
All right. Well, opportunity is a wonderful thing. It can be, can't it?
Yeah, and so I got all the permits, I got all the insurances and licensing from the state of Washington. All I need is the Pasco license.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
I don't have any further questions. I've read everything several times. I understand your project, and so I do appreciate, though, that you came out tonight so that I could meet you and ask you a few questions. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Now I'll turn it over to the public. Is there any member of the public there that would like to offer any testimony tonight?
Seeing no one, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adams. Is there anything further from staff?
No, sir.
All right, to Mr. Rojas, what I'm going to do is I am going to close the public record portion of this hearing. I will have a written decision made within the next 10 working days. That's all we have on our agenda, so I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. And now I'm going to adjourn this October 12th, 2022 meeting of the City of Pasco Hearing Examiner. Thank you all very much for coming. Look forward to our next meeting. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.